I would have never guessed that I would love jazz. Honestly, it always felt like background music in old movies, or something my grandparents might put on. But then one cozy evening, I was playing Cyberpunk 2077, and out of nowhere this Chet Baker track started playing, and it completely blew me away. There was this crazy contrast, the old raspy recording of his voice mixed with the trumpets, and the futuristic neon city around me. Two completely different vibes, but somehow they both gave the same feeling. The feeling of a city. And that's when it hit me. Wait, is jazz making a comeback?
Time after time, I tell myself that
Since then, I started listening more, especially with the colder seasons coming in. You walk through the city all mysterious with your jazz playing, you come home, stoke the fire, make a hot chocolate. Nah, but on a serious note, I find myself putting on jazz and bossa nova way more often. There's just something about it that makes it feel cozy and timeless at the same time. My personal favorites are the old school ones. You have Chet Baker, Frank Sinatra, Julie London, Duke Ellington, that kind of vibe. And of course also bossa nova, but I feel like it kind of complements each other. But some of the new artists are cool as well. You have Laufey or Luffy, I don't know how to say her name. One that I also really like is Berlioz. I'm probably butchering the heck out of that name, but go check him out. Fire. But what I really like about jazz is how different it feels compared to most mainstream music now. Because let's be honest, most of modern songs can feel overproduced at times. Like every second has to be filled. I blame TikTok for that, You youngins have no attention span. But that's a topic for a later video. But in comparison to that overproduced music nowadays, jazz feels so simple. Kind of a rawness, humanness to it. And I'ma be honest, when I listen to jazz, I kind of feel like a businessman in New York from like the 1960s. I know it sounds kind of funny because I'm only 19, but jazz kind of gives this nostalgic vibe, But of course, jazz isn't anything new. It's been around for over a century. It all started in New Orleans in the early 1900s. A mix of African rhythms and European harmonies. And let me tell you, it spread fast. By the 1920s, you had swing music, jazz clubs in Harlem, and legends like Louis Armstrong, Duke Ellington, changing music forever. In the 1940s, bebop came along, which is like kind of a more complex, faster type of jazz. Then in the 50s and the 60s, you had cool jazz and bossa nova, with artists like Chet Baker, Miles Davis, and João Gilberto. I don't know why I love that name. And then jazz kind of faded in obscurity, which isn't crazy because we had new genres coming out like rock and roll, pop, hip hop, which really took over mainstream and still does to this day. But the thing is with jazz, it never really dies, it just waits, hidden in plain sight, until people rediscover it. Jazz is slowly sneaking back into our culture in most ways people don't even realize. First, there's pop culture, games like Cyberpunk, movies like Whiplash and La La Land, and even animes like Cowboy Bebop. They're basically putting back jazz in front of younger audiences. And then there's lo-fi and jazz hop. By the way, jazz hop, you gotta get on that. My favorite two genre combined? Are you serious? Nah, but it's really fire. You gotta listen to like jazz-infused hip-hop. Oh yeah, and lo-fi, I think everybody's familiar with that. Those study beats playlists on YouTube or Spotify? Those are mostly built on jazz chords and samples. So basically millions of people listen to jazz every day, without even realizing it. And then of course we have the vinyl revival. Young listeners are buying records again. And honestly, jazz just hits different on vinyl. I have a Chet Baker record myself, and let me tell you, I prefer it on vinyl way more than on the cell phone. And it's not just us the listeners that love jazz. We see tons of more modern artists starting to blend jazz with their own genres. Take for example, Kendrick Lamar's To Pimp a Butterfly. It's an album that really brings out the jazz in hip-hop, jazz hop as I told you guys. And it's not just hip-hop, we see it in R&B, we see it in indie, it really is just everywhere. So if jazz is creeping in through all these genres and spaces, the logical next question is, where does it all live? Where do fans go to share that love? The answer is communities. And jazz has quietly been building a really passionate one. Today if you go online, jazz has this whole second life. We've got Reddit threads like r/jazz, r/lo-fi hip hop, where people are constantly sharing records, trading recommendations, even debating over which Miles Davis era is the best. But in my opinion, the largest community is definitely over on TikTok. Bro, I've seen so many aesthetic videos with jazz in the background, or people saying like, I need a perfume that smells like this. Then you see like an old school New York, jazz cafes, and of course jazz playing in the background. And as we cannot forget, there's also communities in real life. I know. It's 2025, you live online, you haven't touched grass in like 6 years. But there is a real life outside. In the cities, we see a lot of jazz bars and cafes making a comeback. And as it might sound surprising, people our age, yes, our age, and I swear if one of you calls me Unc, I am still a teenager, technically. Anyways, where was I? Oh yeah. People our age are actually going to these bars, whether it's for an open mic night or to watch a local jazz show, and it's actually quite nice. And I feel like after Corona, people need connection again. Even though it was 3 years ago, people still have problems connecting with people. I think there was a study to prove that. Editing Sham, if there was, put it on the screen right now. Anyways, I just find it so cool that all those different age groups have something that connects them. And these communities aren't just in the USA, it's a global thing. In Japan, for example, there's this whole culture of jazz cafes. Or take London as example, there are a whole new wave of young jazz artists there. People like Ezra Collective and Numbia Garcia, who are filling whole-ass venues and festivals. So, whether it's a bar in New York, somewhere in the hills, or a cafe in Tokyo, or even scrolling TikTok, it's everywhere, and I'm loving it. So, is jazz really making a comeback, or are we just paying it more attention now? Because at the end of the day, jazz isn't just background music, it's timeless. So what do you think? Is jazz making a comeback, or is it just me noticing it everywhere? Hello guys, I quickly wanted to show you guys the vinyl I was talking about. As you can see, Chet Baker Sings. This is my good old record player. It's a little bit of a crappy setup. I usually have it downstairs, that's why. But now I got it like plugged into my laptop for power. This is the one that I play the most. As you can see, beautiful, bright colors. Boom. Okay, so what do we want? What are you guys feeling? I'm feeling Time After Time. So we got the B-side, Time After Time. One downside is though I find it hard to exactly pinpoint where which song starts. I know you have the little lines, but I'm not really good at that. I think it starts like here. Let's check it out. Come on! Let me turn it up to the max.
Time after time.
You just hear the pureness. Hopefully you guys can now understand. Wait, let me turn it down. Hopefully you guys now understand why I like this more, cause come on. Oh yeah, and by the way guys, don't sleep on the backdrop now. I know you saw it. The Halloween season. Oh. That's me guys.
But what the hell, boy?
Editing right there, say hello. The seasonal backdrop. Come on, we're seasonal with it. Thank you all for watching and let me know what you want to see next. Because I got some ideas, but I'm always open to new ones and yeah. Peace.